Joining me now to talk about all of this is CNN legal analyst Philip Holloway. He's also a former U.S. Navy JAG officer. You know about the legal angle of all of this outside of the politics, but the Clinton camp says this is part of the Republican effort to derail her. Donald Trump says, hey, she's just afraid of going into the clink, as he called it. But objectively, how serious is this?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the word objectively, because it is important to remain objective and have to understand, once this information, this referral is made to the Justice Department, they have no real choice but to investigate this, and they have to do so in a very thorough fashion. If there's going to be a smoking gun, and it is a big if, it's going to be the existence of the server in Hillary Clinton's home and potentially the thumb drive that was at one time in possession of her attorney. Now, we do know that that thumb drive was later placed in a safe provided to him by the State Department, but what we don't know is whether or not the classified material that was contained on that thumb drive was ever compromised in any way or potentially compromised. So it's the storage of this material that could be the big problem.
So you're saying the fact that it was even on a thumb drive is an issue. Now, the FBI still has to investigate all of this. Another agency, our CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin, he's a former prosecutor. He says that investigation is likely to hang on a very important point. Just listen to what he had to say about that.
Now, under the rules, information can still be classified even though it's not marked classified, and that's what appears to be the conclusion of the people who've looked at these documents after the fact. The FBI almost certainly will not prosecute her if she is simply dealing with information that after the fact turns out to be classified. If there is information that she knew or should have known was classified and she turns out to have sent that around in an unclassified way, then potentially she's in a lot of trouble. But we don't know that that's the case.
So it seems there Clinton would need to admit that she knew an email was classified before she sent it, right? Is that necessary here?
Sometimes that's the case, but what you have to understand is certain types of material is classified the moment that it's born, so to speak. If you're the President of the United States or the Secretary of State, or in the case of David Petraeus, maybe the head of the CIA, you have to understand that communications that you make, whether they be oral or in writing with your counterpart in another nation, can be considered classified from the very moment they exist, whether or not someone has taken the time to stamp it or not. So that is the question of intent is obviously important. You see situations like with General Petraeus, for example. He was prosecuted for a misdemeanor simply based on the way that he possessed information, not in the proper fashion. And so it's really not a question of whether or not Secretary Clinton was engaging in some nefarious activity with this material, but really how and under what circumstances was it possessed and
That's
retained.
Interesting. Because if you listen to what Hillary Clinton and her staff is saying now, they're kind of suggesting that this could have been as mundane as sharing a news article, they say. That could have been classified. So they're trying to kind of say it's less serious. But how bad could this be if, say, there is an issue with the fact that these emails are on a thumb drive and that emails that were considered classified when they were born, as you say, were shared? How bad could this be?
They would have to uncover something that really shows that she did intentionally share classified information, that she took some steps to circumvent the law that were intentional in nature rather than simply negligent. If they could find something like that, she's got a very serious problem. If they don't find something like that, she still could face a problem, although it might be something as minor as General Petraeus, which he was only charged with a misdemeanor, or they could elect not to prosecute her at all.
Okay, well, we'll see where this goes from here. Bernie Sanders said he doesn't care about her damn emails, but it still remains an issue. Philip Holloway, CNN legal analyst and a former Navy JAG officer, thanks for your time today.
Happy to be here.